Alrighty, y'all. Welcome back from spring break. Y'all know the drill about captions. Need captions, 3 dots. Make sure we are speaking slowly, clearly into the mic. Oh, new mics. Wow. And of course, avoid loud location. Let's please make sure to have one speaker at a time. Today is March 23rd, and I call this meeting to order at 5:41 p.m. I'm going to have roll call. I do apologize. The wrong version is on the screen, but I promise you we do have new senators. So if our Sergeant at Arms can help me with the roll call, that'd be awesome.
Bywalla. Shiloh.
Here.
McDowell here. Allen.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Banerjee.
Here.
Sweet. Castellanos.
Here.
Garcia.
Here.
Gillis.
Here.
Guevara.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
McFarland.
Here.
Ruiz.
Here.
Taylor. Von Vors. M. Cowell.
Here.
Baker. Ihia Miramadu.
Here.
Schulte. Syed. Here.
Here.
We have quorum.
Alrighty. COVID reminders, you know the drill. Today's agenda is pretty short. We do have a piece of legislation, S 2022-B4, emergency status, Senate standing committee appointments, and we have a consideration for election board member. But first, if we can have executive reports, have our team come down, that'd be awesome.
All right, mic check. How's it going, Senate? Good. Are y'all having fun? Like I always say, yes. Cool. I hope so. Thank you to the interns that are joined virtually. I do see you, and I will mark attendance for that in the back sheet. My report is kind of short. The interns did meet this past Monday. We met virtually. We're going to meet in person, but due to the tornado that we thought we were about to have or whatever was happening with the Texas weather, we moved it virtually. In this meeting, we basically covered this meeting to kind of debrief and also talk about the capstone project. That was the big focus. So, of course, they're interns throughout the full year, but the big part of the program is the capstone project, which is kind of like the final ball game of them in conclusion of being in the program. And so there's 2 parts this year. The first part is a mentor group part that they'll be doing, and it's basically kind of a competition to figure out which group can convince somebody to invest in the intern program and why. And then the second piece is an individual 3-year plan. So now that they've completed the intern program, what will they be doing for the next 3 years on campus? Where will they live? What internships would they get? What grad schools would they apply to? All these things to kind of just plan it out and get them a better perspective. I've also been working with Devin and Casey to help ensure that the interns can receive a gift of appreciation for all their hard work this year, and also our mentors as well. And then lastly, I have been able to schedule our capstone dinner for April 18th, and we already have confirmation from Dr. With. She will be there, and we're trying to work with some other VPs to get them to be there for the capstone night, and basically they'll participate as judges, and then the group that wins will probably just add money to their flex or something like that, since we do have good money in the budget. But that's pretty much it. The interns have been continuing their exec shadowing, and I hope they've been continuing their Senate shadowing. If not, please let me know.
Any questions for our intern program director? If not, we'll move on to our next director, Director of Outreach, Mayam.
Does anyone have any questions on my report?
Do you mind presenting that? I did not send it out just so we can give our.
It should be in your email.
Yeah, I will pull it up for you.
Yeah. But I can basically just go through it. I've been finalizing everything for the safety party town hall. It's going to be April 12th from 1 to 3. I'm still figuring out a good room location. I've just been discussing that with one of the event coordinators on that. Just try to find a location that's central and everyone can see. We have the graphics finalized, and I'm going to order them from Eagle Images, lawn signs, flyers, all that stuff. The top of my head. Sorry, my mind's blinking right now. I also am planning a committee social that is going to be April 8th, Friday, April 8th from 12 to 2. It's a committee social. Is going to be for advocacy committees, Eagles Nest, and RAP committees, and it's going to be in Jade Ballroom. So an invitation will be sent out to all committee members. There it is. And we've had new committee members appointed. So all the committee roster is continuously updated. I emailed everyone trying to get their SGA entry form and trying to schedule some first meetings so we can pick a committee chair. And yeah, basically just everything, finalizing all the safety event stuff, Amazon, Verde order, graphics, everything for the goodie bags. And I'm taking over the ambassador program, and I'm going to be meeting with them continuously. They meet on Wednesdays at 5, and I'm going to continue that schedule. So I met with a couple of them today, which was nice. But does anyone have any questions?
Senator Johnson.
For the committee social, is that just a social, or is it for prospective members who want to try out for a different committee?
It's just a social for committee members, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions for our Director of Outreach?
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. We'll have our Deputy Chief of Staff.
Mike. Stop. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Eagles Nest is still accepting applications. While we did run out of money, Student Activities is very gracious and are kind of providing a stream of income depending on how many applications we have. So Eagles Nest will continue to accept applications, and I'll be overseeing that still. RALP is still closed and will remain closed until probably the new fiscal year. We have 9 upcoming Eagles Nest events. They, of course, will be posted on all of our SGA social medias. Please attend them if you can. I've been helping Maya this past week with their events, more on the financial side, picking Amazon and Verde stuff. I have lots of students coming back from RALP conferences, so working with them on getting their reimbursement letters and sending it so they can get their reimbursements. I continue to meet with student orgs who are applying to Eagles Nest, helping them with their applications. Resource meetings are done for this year. Organizations can reach out privately and we can have a private meeting, but we will no longer be having the resource meetings on every other Thursday. I've kind of been working on an MHI project with the President, Chief of Staff, and David, and I've been reviewing and preparing for SSF deliberations, which are this Friday. Any questions?
Senator Johnson.
So since resource meetings have ended, organizations who did not attend organizations that were not able to attend one of those events, they can message you privately and say, hey, can I get a little private one to then apply to Eagles Nest and still get the funding?
Yes, correct. We'll be having a social media post going up about that.
Thank you.
Any other questions for our Deputy Chief of Staff? If not, we have our Chief of Chiefs, Casey Jimenez.
Hello. So last week I spent most of my time just closing up during the spring break, make sure just office administrative stuff was done. Getting back into this week, it's pretty much event support, helping Zoe, which you'll probably hear about. I see they're on the team, so they'll probably go over some of the stuff they're doing, as well as helping Maya. And Bella's been a huge help, just streamlining that process for events, as well as I'm working with Boktaver for the election events, getting reservations and working with any logistics for these events this week as well as next week. So any questions? All right.
All righty. I'll pull up Zoe's report, our director for diversity and inclusion. They are having a collaboration with PBSO, Hair Art Expo. The date will be April 15th at 6:30. Trying to finalize a couple items like booking and partnering with Casey for Verde. Actually, let me share my screen so people on Teams can see what I'm seeing. They also have other things, finalizing flyers, and we'll partner with Colin to post that on social media. And of course, if you have any questions for Zoe, you can email her at sgainclusion@unt.edu. Devin, I believe you're up.
All right. Hey, y'all. So a few things that I've been working on. Trying to follow up with transportation on a couple of things. I'm probably going to try to set up another meeting with them relatively soon. Also trying to set up meetings with Dr. With, Neil Smatras, a few others.
That you pick it up for yourself.
Hey, someone else.
Okay.
Hey, Emma.
Yeah, I picked it by myself.
Hey, Emma.
1, 2, 3, 7.
Okay. Guys, just a reminder to mute yourself, but I muted it for you. Go ahead, Devin. You can proceed.
Okay. And we did make an election board nomination, so you'll be considering that person today. That was done in coordination with Boktaver. And there's been some staffing changes, and so as was mentioned earlier, Bella is the Deputy Chief of Staff. The executive policy manual as revised has gone out to y'all, so you have a chance to kind of look at what those changes look like. And then David and I met with Kathleen recently to go over some Pride Alliance stuff. We had a really good meeting, and we're going to try to follow up on some topics in the next couple weeks or so. And been working on the committees. I did a slew of committee applications, and so Maya's been doing really good work in trying to get those committee members kind of set up, onboarded, coordinated. So I appreciate them for that. But committees took up a fair amount of time before the spring break hit. Once we came back from spring break, I was working on the allocation legislation in coordination with Krista, who was able to aggregate the data for us. Thank you, Krista. And we'll be going over the allocation legislation later in the agenda. And then, let's see here. I've been following up on legislation. I'm going to be sending another follow-up because I didn't receive too many responses. So I'm just going to follow up with the ones that received legislation. I believe that was also done before the break. And we've been asked to go to a couple of events. David's going to go to some. I'm going to go to some. And we're going to make sure that there's some SGA representation there. Been working with Casey and Boktaver and Colin on some election stuff. We're trying to do what we can to support Boktaver in the electoral process. And I appreciate everyone who's been participating in that very intense process of getting an election done. So everyone's been doing great work. And been keeping an eye on some news that came out about a civil rights complaint I don't know if UNT is involved in it, but it's regarding some athletes and restriction of compensation to athletes, and so I'm trying to keep an eye on that and see what's going on there. And then working with JT, as JT mentioned a little bit, on the budget proposal for the intern program jackets. Just provide some comments for language adjustments and some other stuff. So hopefully we'll have that for y'all soon. And then yeah, just been working on some MHI stuff with Bella and Casey. We're getting some good work done, but we still need to finalize some details. So it's been a pretty busy time outside of spring break, but you know, I had a very pleasant spring break, and I hope the rest of y'all did too. It was a good time for me to kind of decompress and relax in between kind of everything else that's been going on. So but yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that's been going on. So I think at this point, I'll kind of turn it over to questions, or if there's no questions, we can go to David.
Any questions for Devin? Alrighty, we'll go to my report. A couple items. I did attend today's Equity and Diversity Conference from IDEA, presented by Fidelity. Really important stuff. I really love it. I encourage y'all to attend next year's conference. Really informative. I am also participating in rec sports focus groups. So going again over their master plan, I was invited to attend one of their sessions for tomorrow at 4 p.m. Updating the website, and of course, like Devin has mentioned, trying to support Bucktover and all of this. Just to give you a perspective, been working on the elections page. So I fixed a couple issues. If y'all have not seen it, it's been now hopefully fully up to date. The election code has been updated to reflect y'all's changes. Here, been polished. Of course, a new violation report form, a little bit more polished, and you're able to type in the PDF, so it's fillable. And again, there's that application link if you want to file as a writing candidate. Events are now posted, and I believe all platforms are now available underneath the college or tickets. Trying to think other than that. Going to participate in University Day. And trying to think anything else. Had a lot of one-on-ones, office hours, and tabling. So there is a lot of uncompleted sessions that I cannot verify. So please communicate if you've completed any, and please show me documentation. So if you emailed an officer or you texted them, hey, whatever you did to communicate with the officers, I need that in by Friday. If not, this is for the month of February. If not, then I'm going to start sending emails about potential removals or potential warnings about attendance. Remember that that's something that needs to happen since we're still pretty active. We're still in March. There's a couple of y'all, and also please communicate if you cannot do tabling or office hours or attend a Senate meeting. I know people's mental health has not been the best. I know the break has maybe a factor in it. So please communicate that with me. Be like, hey, David, mental health day. It's totally okay. And again, I'm always a resource. I want to make that very, very clear. I'm here to listen, and if I need to send you to the right people, I can definitely do that. That is my job. But I just want to make sure y'all are being taken care of. And of course, one-on-ones. That's kind of my report. Do any of y'all have any questions for me? Senator Johnson.
For the documentation to show our office hours and stuff like that, if like a couple times I went into the office during like a tweet or something like, and I had like Andy or somebody or whoever's in the office, an executive, just sign off on the document, and then I went out to the org sync space. Is that satisfaction, or do I need to like send a screenshot of the tweet I sent and where I was?
Give me one. Okay. Should not show this on screen. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna try to do this. View. Okay, never mind. Just partner with me. I do have sensitive information on that, so I'm not sharing it. Partner with me to double check if you have anything. I try to put in the dates. Remember, it's only 2 sessions minimum. That's what y'all approved last semester. And yes, and if I forgot, please remind me, because I know I'm very forgetful and I have a ton of emails. Any other questions about stuff? Just partner with me. Give me an easy fix. I would hope I should not remove anyone. I don't want to do that. I think we still have a lot of great stuff to do. If there's no any other questions, we'll move on to the next item of the agenda. So let me share my screen. Minutes. I did send that to y'all. I know Gracie was unable to attend, so I did type in those minutes. Any questions? All right. If there's no objections, the minutes are approved. All right. Now we have legislation to consider. We have S 2022 B4, Senate apportionment for 2022 election, submitted by our President, Devin Skinner. Devin, the floor is yours. And of course, this is under emergency status.
Okay. S 2022-B4, Senate apportionment for 2022 elections. Whereas the bylaws of the SGA require the executive branch to file a bill establishing apportionment of Senate seats for each electoral season. Whereas the Senate recently passed a bill which, if a public referendum passes, would revise the structure of the Senate apportionment. Let it be resolved that, should the aforementioned referendum fail, the following apportionment be put into effect for Senate seat distribution. College of Health and Public Service, 3. College of Business, 8. College of Education, 4. College of Engineering, 5. College of Information, 1. College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences, 11. College of Music, 1. College of Science, 4. College of Visual Arts and Design, 3. College of Merchandising, Hospitality and Tourism, 1. New College, 1. Texas Academy of Mathematics and Science, 1. Honors College, 1. Frisco Campus, 1. Let it be further resolved that, should the aforementioned referendum pass, the following apportionment be put into effect for Senate seat distribution. College of Health and Public Service, 2. College of Business, 4. College of Education, 2. College of Engineering, 4. College of Information, 2. College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences, 4. College of Music, 2. College of Science, 2. College of Visual Arts and Design, 2. College of Merchandising, Hospitality and Tourism, 2. New College, 2. Texas Academy of Mathematics and Science, 2. Mayborn School of Journalism, 2. Honors College, 2. And at-large seats, 5. Respectfully submitted, Devin Skinner, UNT SGA President.
Alrighty, the floor is open for any motion. Senator Lee.
Senator Lee moves to a period of questioning.
Is there a second?
Senator Allen seconds.
All right. Senator Lee, you have the first question.
Hi, Devin.
Hey.
My question's pretty straightforward. Just if I don't know if I'm just dumb, if you could just kind of explain the public referendum process and like exactly why this bill is necessary.
Sure. So the apportionment is something that happens every year. It's required by governing document, and it basically makes sure that there's a democratic process for the distribution of those seats. The distribution of the seats and the process for that is outlined in the Constitution, but this is essentially a check to make sure that that distribution is correct and to make sure that that's something that's being done in a good way. The referendum refers to the constitutional amendment which the Senate passed, and so the apportionment is complicated with the context of that constitutional amendment because the constitutional amendment changes the Senate structure, and we can't, if we have the wrong apportionment here with the amendment passing, then that would be a problem. So we need to have one for the structure that we currently have in case the referendum fails, and then one as a contingency if the referendum passes. And that's essentially what the legislation does. And really the mechanism of action here is that the idea is that the election commissioner would certify the referendum first. And then once the referendum's been certified, then the contingency portion of this bill goes into effect. And they would use that standard when certifying seats for the Senate when they go into the candidate certifications. So that's kind of it's different than a normal apportionment bill, which is fairly standard, but that's the reason why this is a little more, I guess, convoluted. It's just because there's kind of odd circumstances surrounding apportionment this year.
Senator McDowell.
Hey, Devin. There's a lot. It looks like there's a lot of moving parts. So I was wondering if there was some resource that we could see that shows us the populations of these colleges. Because as it stands, there isn't really, at least as far as I know, there aren't any resources for that.
Sure. I'm able to share my screen, but can I send it to you, David, and that way you can just put it up on the table?
I have it. Give me 1 second.
Now, is this the one that has 4 sheets on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's just going to be the first and the last one.
Okay. So give me 1 second, y'all. Sharing my screen. So this is the current structure.
So and Krista was the one kind of collecting the data. Krista's the one that has access to all the data here. This is a formula that's been used year to year under the current Senate seat structure. And so you can kind of see here the way that it rounds up and down and kind of how the seats are allocated. And then if you want to go ahead and go to the 4th page, and then we can kind of just bounce around depending on what the Senate needs to see. So this is under the new structure, and this is kind of the breakdown for the number of people in each college and kind of how the seats got distributed according to the language in the referendum. The way I see it is this one's a lot more simple in the sense that there's the 11% standard, and so there's not much variance there compared to the current structure, which operates on that 0.56% round up, round down difference. So the Senate will also see. Oh, sorry, again, I heard that. The Senate will also see that Mayborn was added to the new Senate seat structure, as you see on page 4. I've heard some questions or maybe some confusion about Mayborn being added as having seats in the Senate because they're a school. And of course, the language school, college, or academy was something that was used in the old Constitution, but their seats were removed because they were folded into class. So because there were some questions and some confusion, Krista, I think you might be in the room. Would you be able to provide maybe a little bit of historical context on the Mayborn situation? Is that something you'd be comfortable kind of talking about? Or if the Senate could recognize Krista,
I'm coming.
Senator Lee moves to recognize Krista.
McDowell seconds.
You just want me to explain why there are no Mayborn seats now and there are going to be if this passes?
Yeah, just I guess some historical context, because I think there's some people that, because the language is relatively the same, but we're adding Mayborn, I guess kind of talking about why it was removed in the first place and then how it kind of works with the new legislation. Whatever you feel comfortable kind of explaining and kind of providing some knowledge on.
Okay. Well, I can explain. So in, David, can you go back to the first tab, please? So where we are right now and what we've been doing since fall of 2019, as you can see up there, is when the Mayborn School of Journalism students were moved into class, it was decided at that time, because they're classified as class, that we would discount, if you will, the idea of it being a school that's separate because they are tagged in our system as class students. So it was decided at that point to pull all the Mayborn students into class because they are tagged as class. And so that's when the Mayborn seats specifically disappeared. Prior to that, there were seats specifically for Mayborn. So that explains where we are now, and that's why there are no Mayborn seats right now. Now, the second part, Devin, I don't know that I'm as qualified to talk about, since that was more of a commission conversation, unless I'm misunderstanding what you're trying to ask me to say. But my understanding was that when you all passed the constitutional amendment, there was talk specifically about allowing Mayborn to have seats, despite the fact that they are classified as class students. So is there anything else that would be helpful besides that?
No, I think, unless the Senate has a question, would just want to tag on to say, from the, I guess from the other perspective, or the other kind of, I guess, commission side of things, there was definitely discussion during the discussion on the Constitution about it. So this is simply just providing information. The Senate needs to understand kind of what's going on with this, because again, there was some confusion. And basically, the way that I've heard it is Mayborn has their own dean. Technically, I think they're classified as a school, and this is kind of where it gets interesting, because we have colleges, right, and we can easily identify and classify those. Maybe a little bit less so with a school. And so I think the argument is Mayborn has been classified as a school, and under the language of the Constitution, it would need the additional 2 seats. I think those are the 2 different perspectives that I've heard to address any questions or confusion about the issue. But I did want to discuss that as we were kind of talking about the legislation, just to make sure that there weren't any senators who were still kind of confused or questioning what's going on with that. So I know that was a lot of information, but I think we're still in a period of questioning, but just wanted to offer that as well.
Yes, Senator Gillis.
Hi, Devin. I just had a quick question, more so about the protocol, just because this change would obviously make a change to the, apportionment of the seats, and that change hasn't been made yet. So my question is, I know right now on the elections website, it says there's 6 class candidates, and let's say one of the candidates who is, who wins, is a part of Mayborn. And so they're elected under that, class section, but they're part of Mayborn. But the new Constitution also passes. And so would that student then be a class senator, or would they then be a Mayborn senator and there would be 3 class seats? I just sort of want some clarification as to what would happen in that circumstance, should something like that happen.
No, that's a good question, and that's something that I've kind of been thinking about as well. The way I see it is, it's kind of up to the election board, the election commissioner, to determine how that gets certified. For most colleges in which there were more seats, it would be just whoever wins the top of the ticket up until the number of seats that are apportioned under the new system. But because there might be a couple of those students who are classified as Mayborn, I think the election commissioner and the election board, however many members there are at that time, will need to make a determination on whether it makes sense for them to be a Mayborn senator versus, a class senator. I don't think it's within my jurisdiction to make that determination. I think that'll have to be left to the election board. And then, of course, given the size of the election board, if a candidate feels it's necessary, then the Supreme Court could also probably make a determination in that as well. But the election board is going to be the first determining factor in that. So I know that's not a super clear answer. I just don't feel as though I have the jurisdiction to give you a really good answer. I think that would need to be at the discretion of the election board.
Okay, thank you so much, Devin.
Senator McDowell,
If there are no more questions, I move to a period of discussion.
is there a second? All right, seconded by Senator Baker. You have the first discussion point.
I'd like to move that the tables we were shown earlier are added to the minutes for this meeting.
Senator Lee seconds.
Is there anyone opposed? All right, then it's the first and fourth tab.
Yes.
The ones we were
Okay.
shown. So
Okay.
the ones
Yes.
if the referendum passes and the one if it doesn't.
Okay. So I can do that. It's an appendix.
To the minutes.
Oh, to the minutes. Yes. Okay. No one objects? Passes. Okay. Any other discussion points or motions? Senator McDowell?
If there are no more discussion points, I'd like to move to a period of voting.
Senator Ray seconds.
All right. Is there anyone object? All right. Senator McDowell, if you can help me with roll call.
Bywalla,
Aye.
Shiloh,
Aye.
McDowell, aye. Allen,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Banerjee,
Aye.
Castellanos,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Gillis,
Aye.
Guevara,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
McFarland,
Aye.
Ruiz,
Aye.
Cowell,
Aye.
Baker, aye. Emir Amaru,
Aye.
Syed,
Aye.
have I missed anyone? Unanimous.
All righty. It is passed. Okay. So done. So many tabs open. Okay. Give me 1 second. Senator Ruiz.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda. So I move to add the bill that I sent you via email to the agenda. Food for All, SB 2022 R5.
Is there a second?
Senator Johnson seconds.
Point of information, can we discuss it before we add it to the
Yep.
agenda?
Uh-huh. So currently it hasn't been voted on. So if you'd like to move to a period of discussion or questioning, you may.
Senator Lee moves to a period of questioning.
Senator Ruiz seconds.
All right, Senator Lee, you have the first question.
I guess my question is for Kayla or for Kaylin. When was it sent to David?
Like a couple minutes ago. I'm pretty sure if David would like to, though, he could be able to show it onto the Promethean so that we can read it and we can be able
Then I
to.
have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Why it wasn't sent earlier, like in the proper procedure, and or
Because
why you didn't want to wait until next week?
Well, because Legislative Affairs had its meeting today, and we moved to send it back to Senate, and today is the meeting. So I figured since the agenda isn't as lengthy, if we add it to next week's agenda, it would just add more to the already lengthy agenda.
Senator McDowell.
If I might add a little more to that, there was questions about the bill that the committee wasn't able to answer on its own, And given the timeliness of the bill and how long it's been sitting in committee, we felt it was only fair to bring it up and maybe have those questions answered in person.
All righty, Senator Johnson.
And to add on to that is just we want to get this bill, piece of legislation out before Ramadan, and that is next week. Is that right, Mustafa? Mustafa, sorry.
Yeah, Ramadan starts next Saturday. So
Yeah, so we've been kind of wanting to get this out and before the Senate and passed.
at least to have something in motion for Ramadan, especially so students have the opportunity to eat there and break their fast on campus.
That answers my question.
Any motions? Senator Cal?
I guess my question, do you intend for things to actually, appropriate food to actually be available for students during Ramadan? Because I don't think any timeline within 2 weeks is possible for the university. I mean, I understand, but I just want to understand the author's intentions.
So I guess just to speak on that a little bit, so there are already a few things in motion within UNT Dining, and I have a couple meetings scheduled pretty soon. But beyond that, UNT is able to get halal meats at a moment's notice, like they do when they cater for Verde or other other ways that they acquire food. So although, yes, the timeline is short, at least perhaps at some point during the month of Ramadan, right? There's the whole 30 days that maybe at some point during that month, at least if we can get something in the dining halls for students, that would be appropriate.
So from my understanding, this would have been like a celebration kind of thing. Like, look what we were able to accomplish to get into dining halls to celebrate during Ramadan kind of thing, correct?
That's a component to it,
Yeah.
but then obviously it would hopefully last beyond just Ramadan.
But like to celebrate it, like, hey, look what we got done in SGA kind of thing. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Senator Lee moves to vote on the.
So to vote to amend.
Like to vote to add it.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there a second?
McDowell seconds.
Does anyone object? All right, it's unanimous. All right, so now that's added to the agenda. Is there any motions? Senator Ruiz?
I move that we go to a period of discussion regarding spilt milk.
Remember that we're not under emergency status,
Oh,
so
that's right.
we have to go through the normal means. So you're only able, well, we can read it first. Actually, we should read it first. And then we can move into a period of questioning. So the authors would like to read, or Senator McDowell?
My understanding is that we have something on the agenda before, unless the motion meant to add it immediately to the agenda.
I would like to amend my motion if that's the case.
Well, you have to make another motion since it was passed.
All right.
Okay.
I move to add this bill to the agenda immediately.
You mean to consider it?
To consider it to be moved to the agenda immediately.
Senator
Okay.
Syed seconds.
Does anyone object? All right, we'll consider it now. Senator McDowell?
I also believe, and this is just my opinion as Sergeant at Arms, that since this bill has been under the consideration of the Senate, and since it is the Senate's property already, it has already gone through the 2-week waiting period, and now it's returned from committee to the Senate. So my understanding is that it can be voted on and discussed immediately.
I disagree. Here's why. The committee, it was referred to a committee. The committee made changes. I believe the Senate should be able to read the document and make that determination. The Senate has the right to do that, but currently I'm interpreted as a new piece of legislation. You'll have the ability to overrule me, but that's how I'm going to interpret it. Senator Lee.
Senator Lee moves to consider the bill under emergency status.
Is there a second?
Senator Johnson seconds.
Does anyone, or y'all can, any discussion points or anything, anyone object? All right, it's move under emergency status. All right, any discussion points? Now that we can move into a period of discussion.
Do we want to read the bill so that we can discuss it?
I mentioned that earlier.
I move to read the bill. I'll even read it if it's necessary.
Is there a second?
Senator
Yes.
Syed seconds.
All right, you can proceed.
All right, so this is S 2022 R5 Food for All Students, whereas the University of North Texas is a university that prides itself on celebrating an inclusive culture that welcomes all faiths and religions of our diverse student body, whereas UNT has a diverse population of students from varying religions and cultural backgrounds, many of which practice the consumption of halal food products, whereas UNT does not serve any halal meats for 3 reasons, quotations, it is very difficult to find certified halal meats. They are very expensive, and we have not received any requests for halal meats, end quotations, from per the University of North Texas Dining Services white paper, halal. Whereas Muslims can only eat meat that is humanely slaughtered, so unless they know that the meat on campus has been humanely slaughtered, that is halal, then they will be able to eat meat on campus, which can inhibit their capacity to function. Furthermore, in the Quran, it is stated, quotations, so eat only of what is slaughtered in Allah's name if you truly believe in his revelations, end quotations. Surah Al-An'am, Ayah 118. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced it. Awesome. Let it be resolved that UNT Dining Service serves certified halal food that is separately prepared to the standards of Islamic practices for inclusivity of all students' religious beliefs. Respectfully submitted, Senator Grant Johnson, College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences, Senator Alejandro Castellanos, College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences, Senator Mustafa Saeed, College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences. Do I have to state the references? Okay, cool.
All right, Senator Syed.
I'm College of Science.
Let me open for an amendment to that.
You may proceed. So
I move to amend Senator Mustafa's college to College of Science.
Senator Lee seconds. And I'd also like to make an amendment in the 4th.
give me 1 second, y'all. Alrighty. Hey, y'all. No one recognized y'all. Senator Lee.
I'd like to make an amendment in the 4th whereas clause.
4th,
Yes, because currently it says Muslims can only eat meat that is humanely slaughtered. So unless they know that the meat on campus has been humanely slaughtered, it should say then they will not be able to. And I'd like to confer with authors that
So
is the
just add
intent.
not.
Yes. Also, I move to strike then. It's unnecessary because it's just me being a linguist.
This one?
Yes.
Strike that. Okay. Is there a second?
Senator Reese seconds.
All right. Does anyone object? All right. The amendment passes. Any other amendments or motions? Senator Reese,
I make a motion to go to a period of voting.
you move to a period of.
I move to period voting.
Is there a second?
Senator Lee objects.
Okay. Do you want to go to a period of discussion?
Yes, please.
All right. If there's no objections, we're in a period of discussion. Senator Lee, you have the first discussion point.
I just wanted to give space for the authors, or the people in the Committee of Legislative Affairs, if they could just clarify what was discussed, what was changed, just for the record.
Absolutely. So we received this bill, obviously, and it's been sitting in our committee for a little while, since I believe before spring break. So we received it, and we had suggestions. It was like received through a suggestion on Google Docs, and the authors actually had everything that was currently before amended. They were the ones that amended the document before it was sent to us again. And we simply just took into consideration everything they said.
Senator Garcia and Senator McDowell wanted a little bit more clarity within the grammar, but we figured that we could like amend that now in Senate with the bill authors present because none of the bill authors are actually in legislative affairs. So we couldn't even speak with them regarding that. This is the only place that we can have a discussion regarding those things. And the amendments you just made, they were okayed by the authors. So that's what I wanted. I wanted to be like, I wanted there to be darkness between any of us. I wanted the authors to be present as we were making amendments and also to add any questions, anything within. And I mean, they told me that they wanted to move to a period of voting. So I'm respecting their wishes if they feel that this bill is ready on their standards.
Senator Cowell?
So I believe this is the version that was sent to us most recently. To the Senate had already considered, and this version was sent to committee. And so I guess what I'm hearing is that the committee did not make any changes. Is that correct?
Senator McDowell?
The committee primarily confirmed changes that the authors wanted to make, and we made slight grammatical changes, but nothing that really changed the content. The committee basically confirmed the bill to go back to Senate. That we didn't believe that there was too much more we could do with it without the whole body.
So I guess just for the record, what at the beginning of today was the vice chair of the committee and I stepped down. The version that I gave you guys is one that the Senate had already looked at. So like all the changes were made, the Senate had already discussed literally this document. So I guess this, which had already been sent to committee, no changes were made and the committee has put it back up. So I'm just a little anyway.
We did make some changes, like Senator McDowell stated. We did grammatical errors, and we changed Mustafa's. We updated Mustafa's signature from being MSA president to senator since he was recently elected. We can't make any content changes. We, as a committee, decided we can't make any content changes, any significant changes without the bill authors present, because that completely is not our it would be completely wrong for us to not speak to them at least or have any discussion points with them since this was 2 weeks ago that we last discussed about it. I don't know if they have any relevant information that's recent that they could be able to add to the bill because this bill has been sitting in our committee for 2 weeks now.
Okay, so just for clarification purposes, was that the committee's wishes to not make any changes without author's approval? Senator McDowell?
The committee approved the bill as it was given to you to be referred back to Senate.
Okay. I just want to let committees know y'all are able to do whatever you need necessary to the legislation. It is now in the hands of the committee, just for clarification. And I do have the document that was considered by Senate, just so you can see the differences. So changes were made. Senator Johnson.
And this is just speaking on what's the word? In collaborative spirit with the committee. We've been since the committee's kind of been dealing with quorum issues, leadership issues. I've been talking to the authors. The authors have not been left out of the loop at all. We were aware that the committee was going to try to get together. This was being discussed, that they were going to get back to us. So the authors have, again, all convened, and we're good with how it is. However, I would like to make an amendment real quick. So I moved to amend to add that on the old document, let it be further resolved that the legislation be sent to the following and just copy, paste it, move it over.
Is there a second?
Senator Syed seconds.
Does anyone object? Nope. All right, passes. Would also like to make an amendment, if there's no objections, just to change, to add the 5 to
Senator Syed seconds.
Okay. All righty.
If I could make one amendment as well. If you could add back MSA president as well. Just
Yes, I can definitely do that. Is there a second to that?
Senator Reese seconds.
Okay. Any other motions? Or actually discussion points, and we are in our motions. Senator Ruiz.
I wanted to take this time to ask the bill authors if there's any updates within this bill regarding the information of this bill that need to be added to be amended anywhere in this document.
From what we've had meetings with dining people and stuff like that, so they're in the loop as well. But relatively no new information. So the bill looks great to us. We're ready to vote if we can get there today.
Thank you.
Any other discussion points or motions? Senator Lee.
I just have one quick question. We can move to a period of questioning.
Or you can just state it for me. You can go ahead.
I think my question is mainly for Mustafa and Grant. In your talks with dining, kind of talking about the Senate's proceedings, like the more recent talks, has it seemed like they're more open, or are they still kind of like being resistant until this passes?
From what I've spoken with them, I got an email from them today. They do want to meet with me to discuss, adding these options. So it does seem like especially after hearing about this article, this legislation specifically, and also I think North Texas Daily just had a recent article about just the possibility of adding halal options to campus. So I think they are slowly becoming more perceptive, and also a lot of more Texas universities have actually just implemented this as well, like Texas Tech. In the last few weeks, they've actually also implemented a halal menu. So,
and going off of that, again, this was the intended purpose of the original legislation before it was sent to committee. I mean, I love the changes, but again, it was to kind of get the conversation and put the more pressure on the administrators, because again, the wheels kind of turn slow the higher up you go, kind of thing. So yeah, I've had some emails from them. I've talked to Mustafa on that, Mustafa on stuff like that, and we've just kind of we're ready to take this up to the food chain if Senate again votes on it.
Senator Ruiz.
If there are no further discussion points, point of inquiry, could I move to a period of voting if there are no questions also?
You can make any motion.
All right, I move to go to a period of voting.
Senator Syed seconds.
Does anyone object? All righty. Senator McDowell, if you can start roll call.
Walla?
Aye.
Shiloh?
Aye.
McDowell? Aye. Allen?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Banerjee? Oh, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Castellanos?
Aye.
Garcia?
Aye.
Gillis?
Aye.
Guevara?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
McFarland?
Aye.
Ruiz?
Aye.
Cowell?
Aye.
Baker?
Aye.
Emir Armado?
Aye.
Said?
Aye.
Have I missed anyone? It's unanimous.
Awesome. So S 2022 R5 Food for All Students is approved. It will be sent to Devin for his approval or veto. I just want to make a comment. Senators, let's make sure that we're reviewing legislation. We're going over everything. That's why it's super crucial to go through the normal channels. I understand time sensitivity, but just to save the Senate's time, there should have been easy fixes during committee. So I'm just throwing that reminder out there. Okie dokie. Let's move on to the next item of the agenda. believe we have Senate committee appointments. I think I did close that out. So newer senators. And I do apologize if the list is outdated. The floor is open for any nominations. Senator Johnson.
I'd like to nominate Senator Mustafa, sorry, to the Campus Life and Environment Committee.
Is there a second?
Senator Allen seconds.
So, hey, since you were asking a question, so let me just give y'all a refresher of our committees. Okay, so we have 4 committees for the Senate. So the Campus Life and Environment works towards development of campus environment that supports the personal, academic, and social need of students. This includes the physical environment, safety, security, campus dining, transportation, and any other services directly impacting the overall quality of life at UNT. Other committees that we have is diversity and inclusion, internal Senate committee, legislative affairs, and their duties are on the screen as well. So now knowing that Senator Johnson did nominate you to be placed under this committee, do you accept the nomination?
I accept the nomination, and I just have a quick question.
Yes.
Are senators allowed to be on more than one committee?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And you can nominate yourself. So do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Okay. So I'm just going to campus life. Senator McDowell?
We haven't gotten to onboarding for the new senators, so just to let you guys know, you do have to be on one of the Senate standing committees, and you
Yes.
also have to be on a external committee, which I can get with you afterwards. We'll try to do onboarding either this weekend or early next week.
I actually have the list. It is outdated, so I do apologize. If you do not see your list, we can update this. I finally found the flash drive that I lost. We can do but currently for new senators only. Zane, would you like to be, was there a committee that got your interest?
It was the Campus and Student Safety Committee.
The Campus Life, the first one? This is the Senate committee. They're not the external ones. This is just specifically for senators. So Campus Life, again, deals with things happening on campus that impact overall quality of student life at UNT. Diversity and inclusion deals with legislation referrals that made specifically to identify and or resolve concerns related to diversity and inclusion, as well as developing legislation specific to D&I reform that will benefit UNT community. Internal Senate committee enforcing Senate Code of Conduct, Senate oversight functions, basically making sure the integrity of the Senate is being maintained. Of course, last but not least, legislative affairs, reviewing governing documents, providing recommendations, and should handle other matters that are not explicitly counted in our existing committees. Or is there one that kind of got your eye?
The Campus Life Committee.
Campus Life and Environment?
Yeah.
All right. Any other nominations for the new senators? Senator McDowell?
With their permission, I'd like to remove Senator Cowell from the Legislative Affairs Committee. If that's all right.
Yes, plus theory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let me do this.
If I might add, I believe Senator Brown is also not a member of that committee anymore.
Did I spell it right, Zane?
Yeah.
Okay. So you said Senator Brown was no longer part of the legislative affairs?
That's my understanding, yes.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well.
Okay.
Also, I believe Senator Garcia is on the Legislative Affairs Committee.
Okay, we'll get to those. Okay. All right, now let's do senators that were appointed. We did this. I can add the updated list. We'll start with Senator Gillis. I believe you're on that one.
Yeah, I would just like to have my name removed from diversity and inclusion and Senate internal. I had stepped down from both of those. Thank you.
Yes. Senator Mary Madu, to be added to what committees again? Campus life. All right. Does the list look good? Senator Ruiz? Senator Baker, can you remind me what committees you were placed on? Okay. Who? Taylor. Awesome. Did I miss anyone? Does it look good? Because this will be the most updated list. Now it's on the recording, so we're good. Okay. Any more revisions or anything to this list? Going once? Senator Ruiz?
Is there any way I could make an announcement to any of the senators to, if they're interested in joining legislative affairs, to please join?
Well, that's this time for now. If they want to join another committee or leave a committee, Senator Johnson?
I'd like to nominate myself for the Legislative Affairs Committee.
Is there a second?
Senator Ruiz seconds.
Any other changes? All right, document is approved as is. All righty, so that's our standing committees. We'll move on to our last item on the agenda. We do have a consideration for our election board member. Ginger? Yes, okay.
David, if I'm able to just real quick.
Yes.
This work just there's no affiliation with anyone on the executive staff or with October.
Okay. All right, Ginger. If you would like to come up to the front, I can adjust the mic for you. So Ginger, okay, let's do this. Yay, we have an election board member consideration. Awesome. So at this time, I'm gonna go to you. So if you would like to share to the Senate why you would be a great fit to be on the election board since we're in election season, and provide any leadership experiences that will support that, anything you feel necessary to share with the Senate. The floor is all yours. It is not on. I got it for you.
Okay. Okay. Hi, my name is Ginger. I kind of found the election board just clicking around the SGA website. And it looked really interesting. I've always been interested in interpretation of constitutions and laws and things like that. And I'm really interested in getting into other spaces on campus that involve this kind of thing, like parliamentarian for other orgs, and just things revolving around interpretation of documents like this. In the past, I've been an officer. In high school, I was an officer for FCCLA, which is Future Community and Career Leaders of America, excuse me. I was an officer for our academic competition organization. I am currently a member of another student organization on campus, and I'm looking to kind of get experience for how I want to help them as well as, you know, helping the elections process this year for SGA. Are there any questions?
Alrighty, Senator Johnson.
Senator Johnson moves that we go to a period of questioning.
Senator Reese seconds.
Go ahead, Senator Johnson.
So, like you, I kind of stumbled on to SGA, just looking for organizations to join when I was back in the day, kind of thing. Seems like forever ago. But so you said you have had experience with other leadership roles and stuff like that. But when it comes to elections, integrity is obviously the most important thing. Let's say you know someone who is running in the election, a candidate. Do you think, regardless of if they won or lost or barely lost or whatever, and the rules and regulations, do you think you could be fair and impartial and be the most, make sure the elections are run smoothly as much as possible?
Right. Yeah. If I knew someone personally that was running, that really doesn't matter to me. I've kind of gotten into situations with my friends in the past where I had to tell them, you know, you're wrong in this situation. So, you know, that happens in my personal life anyway. And so I really feel like for a position like this, that's a bit more serious. I really won't have an issue with it.
Thank you so much.
Senator Reese.
Hi, Ginger. Welcome to the Senate chamber. I wanted to ask you a not so scary question because I feel like a lot of the questions are so scary. So my question to you is, what are you most excited about if you are appointed to this position?
Definitely getting a kind of like behind the scenes look at this kind of process. I know this is a student-led thing, but I've never done this kind of thing in a professional setting. So I'm just really interested to see how it goes. And I've been reviewing like the election codes and the Constitution and everything. So I'm excited to like see it in motion.
Excellent. Thank you.
Senator Lee.
Hi, Ginger. Thank you so much for coming out to see us today. Mine is more kind of just a get to know you question since none of us know you. What is your major and what's your year? Classification?
Yeah, I'm an art history major. I'm actually double minoring in Latin and classical studies. I'm a junior. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay.
Any other questions or motions? Senator Johnson.
Senator Johnson moves that we go to a period of voting.
Is there a second?
Senator Reese seconds.
All right. Ginger, if you wouldn't mind just stepping out,
okay.
And I'll have our speaker pro tempore come get you whenever the Senate's done voting.
Okay, thank you.
Can someone remind me who seconded? Awesome. Andy, you can help us out.
Senator Baiwala?
You're voting on.
Aye.
Shiloh?
They left. They're at the event.
Oh, got it. McDowell? Aye. Allen?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Banerjee?
Aye.
Castellanos?
Aye.
Sorry. Garcia?
Aye.
Gillis?
Aye.
Guevara?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
McFarland?
Aye.
Ruiz?
Aye.
Cal?
Aye.
Baker?
Aye.
Emir Amadu?
Aye.
Sayed?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Awesome. And the appointment is confirmed. Senator Banerjee, if you don't mind bringing the candidate. Because there is an event at 7 for elections, if there's no objections, I move to adjourn at 6:55 p.m. All right. Awesome. Let me stop the recording. Congratulations.